Hey y'all, there is a mess on my desk. So I'm hanging out my space to craft and I want to make a whole bunch of cards using some of the swaps that I got for the Psalms swap over on Ginger's Corner. So go check out Ginger's Corner. There's swaps. There's probably like 3 swaps a month on there. So lots of things to do. So I've pulled some papers to get me started. I think this pink, I went into scraps. It's all from scraps. This is really pretty together. I might want some kind of frame around it. That's going to go on a cream base. But I think I might want to trim it with a real thin black or something. I don't know. I have this one. I found this real pretty plaid. It's from Fun Stamper's Journey. And then this green to be a matte. I think that will work. And this very cute handmade by With Love Sandra. This cute one, this beautiful cross. For it, I'm going to go with this purple and gold. I kind of like that. And this beautiful, very fancy heart with some gold in the back. I'm going to go with this photo mat. So that's going to be it. I like the distressing on here and some dark brown for background. And then this, I think, is, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 2 pieces of paper. I have this stripe, well, 3, some coppery gold, because there's some gold, the same color in the background of this paper, and this floral. So I'm going to make those work. My first step is going to be to cut the square bases. So I'm going to go off and do that and cut. I'm going to do simple cards. This one may have a stripe across the bottom and another stripe of this because these just are so gorgeous and speak for themselves. So I'm going to let those sort of do the talking on this. This one will need a sentiment. We'll get to that after. So let me go cut a bunch of papers and then we'll assemble together. Well, I was going to just leave this whole thing in real time, but it got a little bit long. It ended up being 30 minutes, and I know y'all don't want to sit for 30 minutes and watch a video. So I've just sped it up a little bit, 2.5 times, I think. So I'm just starting on the first card. I've gone off and I've cut the card, the first mat, and then the decorative paper. And I did all of them about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the one before it. So that gives you 1/8 of an inch frame on just about everything. So you can see that was super simple. I did decide I would just add a little strip to the inside of this card. It's the only card I did that on. I guess I could go back and add some more. But I thought about it on this card and I didn't think about it on the others. But I do have a lot of those little strips that I cut off, so maybe I will. So that's a cute card, easy. Starting with these embellishments just made the whole thing go so much faster. It gave me a basis to pick paper from. 4 out of the 5 included a sentiment. So it just went so fast. I did decide to add a black frame on this one, since there's black on here. And I pulled out a little piece of little black and white plaid ribbon. And I think that's going to be just real cute. I did want to trim off the tails and not leave them quite so long. And I'm going to pop this up. And
I decided to add one more in the middle just so it doesn't get saggy there in the middle. I tilt it just a little, and I do end up adding a little bit of glue to glue those down. And then I decide, let's add some Nouveau drops. Black gems would have been cute here too, but I had Nouveau drops, so that's what I used. Just a little something. So I'm going to set that. I think I'm going to set it up there, and I realize I'm probably going to be reaching up there a couple times, so I'm going to set it behind me on my desk to dry so I don't mess it up. So here's another one. I do decide to put it on white because the sentiment is white. I was looking at the cream, and then when I go to do it, I realize the sentiment is on white, so that's not going to work. I did not do a double matte for this one. I just decided I didn't want to. But I am going to ink this and ink everything on here. Because I didn't matte, I think the inking is a little more important. Sorry about that, y'all. My daughter was calling. She's up in Houston for her post-prom little vacation. It's crazy what the kids do for prom now. So I had this piece of gold. There was some gold in the paper in the background of this embellishment, so I wanted to add a little bit more of that. And then I liked this floral print. These are, again, everything is scraps, so I'm going to make this extend all the way across just for a little interest. And then we're going to pop up the sentiment, I think. So all of these embellishments were from a Ginger's Corner Forever Faith swap. So I made 8 copies of one thing and sent them in, and then I got 8 different things back. So that's a really fun way to do it. And I decided I don't scrapbook a ton of faith stuff, but I knew I wanted to make all these cards, and so I thought this would be perfect. And my gosh, I got 5 cards done really pretty quickly in like 35 minutes if I include maybe an extra 10 minutes to pull papers. But yeah, it was super fast. So I'm going to ink this one again. I definitely want some ink. Help define, since I'm doing sort of tonal papers. It's a lot of browns. So this is a good card to for a masculine faith card. Not too girly. And I'm gonna do the sentiment popped up. It was nice that they came separately. And then the cross I'm gonna do flat, because it's already got several layers to it. And this was so big, I made this card a little bit bigger. So this card is actually 4.5, wait, 4 3/4, I think, by 5.5 or something like that. So the ratio is the same. I kept this sort of the same ratio, but the cross was so big it would have looked funny on a standard A2 card. So I've just set that behind me, and I'm already working on my last card, y'all. That's how fast this all went. So I'm going to stamp a sentiment from my Meme Made It Walk with God. And this is my new sticky mat that I just got. If you didn't watch my haul, So it's sticky on both sides, so I don't have to use the magnets to hold it down. And I want to use I'm going to do embossing powder, and I don't want to get embossing powder on my sticky mat because that would ruin it. So I just move it off to the side to do the embossing powder, which is the non-stick powder. And I'm just going to stamp that. And I hadn't decided what shape I was going to do yet. I'm going to use gold embossing powder. And that's just right behind me on a little shelf unit, so it's easy to get to my embossing powders on the rare occasion that I use them. I did stamp it twice. That's what's nice about the stamp platforms. Getting that out of the way. And I like to use these coffee filters when I'm embossing or working with glitter because it makes it putting them away, putting the glitter back in the container a lot easier. So I have heat embossed that in gold, and I have a few finishing touches that I want to do. And I had originally planned to do this in the other direction, which I still could have done, but and it actually might have looked a little bit better because I struggled. I have a fix for it, but I struggled to make the two pieces, the tag and the cross, look cohesive. I still have a scrap of that gold, and I've die cut a little scalloped oval out of it. Now the one thing about this paper is you really have to add shims to do the die cuts to get through, because the layer of glitter on the paper is very elastic, so it doesn't always cut through like a piece of paper. So sometimes you have to finesse it a little. So I decide that I'm just going to put this oval on there. Just add, when you're feeling like something's not working, add more stuff. And then you might like it better. So I do like this, and having that just scalloped oval behind it helps tie it all together. And I was just looking for a little brad, and I have a little purple brad that I'm going to use since I'm using that purple paper in the background. And I've got the gold border around this, and I did a really teeny tiny border of the gold, so that because I didn't want too much of it to show. So let's take a look at all of my cards. I think they're pretty cute, and give this video a thumbs up and come back for more content. Thanks a lot, you guys.